Roseville ladies. Happy Easter. I just thought I would bring you another devotional for women's ministry this week. And this week we're going to be talking about the women that went to the tomb. I've got some scripture and I've got a short devotional by Beth Moore. And then if you continue on, I've got a monologue about two of the women that were at the tomb that morning, and also a worship song or two to sing along. And it's going to be a little bit of a different Easter this year for everybody. So know that I'm thinking about you and have been praying for you for sure. Okay, let's get started. So we're going to be reading from Mark 16, 1-7. After the Sabbath, Mary Magdalene, Salome, and Mary the mother of James bought some spices to put on Jesus' body. Very early on Sunday morning, just as the sun was coming up, they went to the tomb. On their way, they were asking one another, "Who will roll away the stone from the entrance for us?" But when they looked, they saw that the stone had already been rolled away. It was a huge stone. The women went into the tomb, and on the right side, they saw a young man in a white robe sitting there. They were afraid. The man said, "Don't be afraid. You are looking for Jesus from Nazareth, who was nailed to the cross. God has raised him to life, and he isn't here. You can see the place where they put his body. Now go and tell the disciples, especially Peter, that he will go ahead of you to Galilee. You will see him there, just as he told you." How the Sabbath hours must have dragged for these women. They had prepared the spices and perfumes, but were forced to rest on the Sabbath. Surely the time seemed like an eternity to them. In Mark 15:41 it says, "For months they had followed him and cared for his needs. Now all that was left to do was to serve him in memorial. They needed to get to the tomb and do the one thing that they could for their Lord." As the moments crawled by, I'm sure these women recounted with horror the last few days. Surely at times they sat there weeping, in painful solitude, as each one of them remembered their encounters with him. The women rested through the Sabbath dusk that gave way to the night, more waiting. In John 20, verse 1, he says that when they were on their way to the tomb, they were on their way before the rooster crowed. Mark tells us that the women were hoping the officials would allow someone to roll away the stone so they could apply the spices and perfumes to the body. To their astonishment, they saw that the very large stone had already been rolled away. Not to free Jesus, but to reveal him already missing. The women entered the tomb, but they did not find the body. Mind you, the women didn't understand yet. Luke 24:4 tells us that while they were wondering about this, suddenly a man clothed in great light appeared to them. At the sight of the angels, the women fell on their faces. The celestial guards announced to them, "Why do you look for the living among the dead?" The what? The living. He is not here. He has risen. He has risen indeed. I cherish the next 5 words of the angel when he says, "Remember how he told you." And it makes me think, have we ever forgotten something that the Lord has told us? He is faithful to his promises. And if we're presently not seeing him at work in our situation, let's not live as if he is lifeless and we're hopeless. Believe him and expect him to reveal his resurrection power to you. Oh, what a glorious and merciful God. He is risen. He is risen indeed. Happy Easter.